Good morning, everyone. It's Laura Clark, your Soul Wise Living mentor, supporting you to really get deep into listening to your own inner wisdom so you can hear it more consistently, understand its messages more clearly, so that you can act upon them courageously no matter what is going on around you, so that you can thrive and not just survive. I want to share a story with you about an experience, a profound experience that I had uh, uh, 5 years ago now. Yeah, 5 years ago. And no, 4 years ago. I can't remember because it seems like yesterday. I lost my soul dog. Now, I've had dogs forever in my life, from when I was a little rascal with St. Bernards in the backyard to having my own labs. I've had personally 8 dogs choose me to be their fur parent. And this one dog, Tarsi, she just has my soul. Everybody else has my heart, but this one has my soul. The reason she had my soul was she came into my life at a time where I was, hi Sherry, welcome. I was really in a place of needing to grow spiritually and develop. I was ready to step out into a new playing field, so to speak, and I wasn't doing that. And this baby, Tarsi, gave me the time to go deep and find the courage to step forward in my life. Indeed, Soul Wise Living would not be around if it were not for Tarsi. So what I wanted to share with you today is a reading, and then my 3 biggest takeaways. There were so many takeaways from Tarsi's life, let alone her passing, and I'll describe her passing in a minute. But there were so many takeaways, but I've narrowed it down to maybe possibly the top 3, and I want to share those with you today as we are stepping through this full moon portal of stepping into empowering our own lives by leading and by leading our own life, by being personally responsible to it, and therefore growing and glowing in your purpose and doing so passionately. So with your permission, I am going to be reading from the Cultivating Joy book. It's an inspiration for a woman's soul. Lots of great stories in here, and indeed my story about Tarsi's teaching and her process of inspiration for me. I shared that a year after she passed. So it'll take me about 5 minutes to read this, and then I'll come back and share some of the other insights with you. All right. So this is Under the Boughs. I think I found Tarsi, said the volunteer on the other end of the phone. After 8 days of searching, this was the call we had hoped for, the call that would bring my Tarsi back to me. Tarsi, short for the tarsal bone in the foot, and Tally, short for another bone in the foot, were littermates and sisters. They were best friends from the start, and until Tally's passing a year before, were inseparable. They had chosen us as their fur parents. People warned me, don't get 2 dogs, they will never bond to you. And this was farthest from the truth. I felt deeply connected to Tarsi from the first moment I held her. She chose me just as much as I chose her. No more than the size of a Coke can when she was born, she was tube-fed for the first 6 weeks of her life. No one knew if she would survive, let alone thrive. But with the spirits nudging and some loving sibling rivalry, she did. Indeed, it wasn't until she was 6 years old that we discovered most of her spine was fused together. Her vet wondered how she could walk without pain, but she rarely complained. Tally and Tarsi took after their names just as I'd hoped they would, always together, always at my feet. After Tally passed, following a courageous and blessedly short bout with cancer, Tarsi held strong, and I began to fully understand why Tarsi had chosen me. She was indeed my soul dog. With her near, I grew stronger in my connection to spirit and my ability to integrate the laws of the universe into my life. And she'd been missing for 8 days. Missing, in fact, since I had received another call, this one from my guy and Tarsi's dad, telling me about the accident he'd been in. I fired off questions and he answered them just as rapidly. Yes, he was okay. Yes, the car was totaled. Yes, the Goldens, our two other dogs, were fine. But Tarsi had run away from the scene and no one could find her. And so the search began. Flyers were made and posted within hours. Animal shelters and local police were contacted. Then I saw the car. Action stopped in the face of reality. The SUV was a shell of itself, having rolled multiple times. It was a wonder Michael or any of the dogs had survived. I stood there and wept. By evening, there was still no sign of Tarsi, and there was nothing to do but go home. Before going to bed, I created a sacred altar for Tarsi to be her guiding light as she made her way back to us. I sent Reiki to her and let words come to me as they so often do, a mantra for me and this time for my soul dog. I am safe, I am supported, I am strong, I am sacred, I am spirit. I repeated them again. You are safe, you are supported, you are strong, you are sacred, you are spirit. As I chanted, I was engulfed with a sense of peace and serenity, and the storm of my emotions subsided. The next day began with the same words. Tarsi, we are safe, we are supported, we are strong. Please come home today. I logged onto my computer and was amazed that the few postings I'd made about Tarsi on social media were being shared. I thought, how nice of my friends to help out. But when I looked closer, I realized that the posts were not just from people I knew, but from complete strangers as well. So many people reaching out, asking me if she had been found, asking how they could help, offering prayers and support. I wanted to thank them each personally, but the call to search for my baby was strong, and I left. As we walked through neighborhoods and knocked on doors, my heart continued to fill with gratitude for the compassion total strangers were showing us. Many were generally concerned and offered to keep an eye out for Tarsi, while others joined our efforts walking with and for us. While out and about, I got a call from someone who'd seen a post on social media. John, who lived in the area, had endured the search for a lost dog himself and was able to offer both ideas and support. Yet the second day came to a close, and it tugged on my heart to leave the accident scene with no sighting and no news of Tarsi. But while the day's search was over, the support continued. I opened my computer and gasped. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Hundreds, literally hundreds of sharings, dozens of private messages, and John's most precious gift, a Tarsi search group message board to help me organize the efforts. Michael and I weren't out there walking the scene tonight, but the search was continuing physically and virtually with hundreds of eyes watching over our Tarsi. The love that surrounded all of us was palpable, and it brought me hope even in the absence of news. One day led to another. Each morning began with a search and ended with plans for the next day. Each evening, I spent time with Tarsi at her altar. 2 days went by, 4 days, 6. I was doing all that I could do to stay in faith and trust that the universe would bring my girl back to me. In the meantime, social media continued to explode, but now people were reaching out to express their concern for the length of time Tarsi had been gone. They were losing faith, and I could feel it. The moment came when my own faith lapsed. A rainy evening, and I stomped outside to yell at the sky, "Why us? Why Tarsi? This is not fair." And the words rang familiar from a long, long time ago when I lived without faith and joy in my daily life. I cried and allowed myself to release some of the pent-up emotion of the past week. Then I came back to myself, the wiser, more intuitive me I've become, and I've quieted my mind. As I reached out to embrace my inner wisdom, this message came through loud and clear. Surround yourself with positive energy. Focus on Tarsi's essence and detach from the outcome. Stay in faith so joy may follow. Throughout the search, I had focused on staying in faith, but I desperately wanted her to come home, safe and healthy. And I was doing my best to manifest that, but I hadn't detached from that outcome. I know from experience that it's the detachment that the fullness of peace and joy comes through. You can have some of this with being positive and staying in faith, but it's when you let go of attachment and yet continue to take consistent, courageous action that everything shifts. I asked for a sign, and it came. The phone rang. Laura, how can I help today? It was John, my angel, who'd been steady from the first. I said, do you think you can coordinate Tarsi's team today? I asked. I can't keep up with the questions about how people can help. We came up with a master plan, and he quickly tasked everyone on the team. Grateful, I went to my computer and posted what was in my heart. Tarsi is still missing, but please do not be worried. Please do not send prayers that have concern with them. Rather, send your love and surround her with light. Send us and the volunteers your positive energy. If you need help doing so, repeat this. I am positively expecting great results and nothing but that. I release this intention with faith that the universe is rearranging itself for Tarsi's best interest, and I take courageous actions trusting this. I hit post, closed the computer, went to Tarsi's altar, and began to talk with her. As I used to do when she was home, and I would ask, are you ready for anything? I told her how much I loved her, and how I knew we were both safe, supported, sacred, and spirit on this day. I went out searching, ready for anything. I think I found her. Shelley, another angel volunteer, repeated on the phone call. On the 10-minute ride to where Shelley waited, Michael and I repeated Tarsi's mantra together. We are safe, we are supported, we are strong, we are sacred, we are spirit. We arrived to find Shelley within 100 yards of the accident scene. Tarsi was indeed there. Michael saw her first, and when he nodded, I knew she was gone. She was in spirit. Her furry form was nestled against a tree deep under the boughs, where she had created a warm nest for herself amongst the fall leaves. She was indeed safe, supported, strong, and sacred. I was filled with a mix of emotion. Of course, there was sorrow and grief, and shock and relief all at the same time. During her transition, Tarsi touched so many lives and hearts. She had endured so much in her lifetime, and yet she chose to be joyful and serve her purpose right up until the end. She was indeed my soul dog, who taught me to be ready for anything. In her transition, she had done again what she did best. She brought joy to me and everyone who was willing to be touched by her light. Over our 8-day quest, she brought out the best in people and showed us that with community, compassion, and love, you can always find joy. It's right there, under the boughs of the tree, waiting for you. Tarsi's spirit lives bright. It lives bright within me. It lives bright within the volunteers who have now become my friends. It lives light in all that she touched. And so my 3 teachings that come out for this is, number 1, lead your life. Lead your life. Be the leader. You are the only one who can bring peace and joy to yourself. You are the only one who can be personally responsible for filling up your vessel with compassion, with community, and with trust and faith. When we lead our life, we find answers that would never have been found. When we lead our life, we live with trust. We live with faith. During my 8-day quest with Tarsi's absence, I leaned on all of the self-development, growth, and spiritual tools that I have learned, all of them. And up until that point in time, I was practicing them, but these came through. They lit my life up. They connected me to Tarsi's essence. I indeed know exactly when she left us. I can tell you the exact moment that her spirit went up during this time. But it's that living in faith and trust that really supports you. The second teaching that I rely on heavily now is to release attachment to the results you want. When you do, you find answers. They come in all different shapes, all different sizes, with as much love for your highest good as possible. Yes, I would have loved to have Tarsi stayed with us, but I know fully that if we had not released the attachment that we have been holding on to bring her home healthy and safe, we wouldn't know what had happened to her to this day. It was the releasing of the attachment that brought us great solace and great comfort, knowing that she had indeed gone to spirit. I can't imagine my life over the last 4 or 5 years wondering what happened to that girl. Being able to have that answer allowed us to continue to live with love, with light, and indeed have 2 more of her children ask us to be their parents. Without having that answer, I don't know if I would have had the compassion and the capability to be a parent to another fur baby. And fur babies are my passion. So with that faith, that trust, those answers came for me to be able to step into more of my purpose and more of my passion. There are 4 teachings. I forgot the second. Another is when you're leading your life. So this is a subset of leading your life. You must ask for support. You must ask for support. As a leader, you must know who you can trust, who you can have faith in, who you can ask to do things, and they'll get done. Up until Tarsi left, I have struggled asking for support and asking for help. And it's in her teaching of my having to ask for support, having to gather community around me to rely on to receive strength, to rely on to get things done. I would never have been connected with Shelley, who ultimately found Tarsi, if I hadn't asked for help. So in leading your life and being passionate and pursuing your purpose, you must ask for support and direct that support as any leader would do. Yes, Sherry, closure is such a gift. And it is releasing that attachment often brings you the answers that allow you to have that closure. The third teaching is one that I love and embrace often. And that is, oftentimes I will get calls from people saying, Laura, I want to grow and I need a mentor support. But how will I know, Laura, if indeed I'm getting the results I need? You go to a nutritionist and you work their program and you get on board. You'll see results. Your blood tests will come back with healthier numbers. You may lose some weight. You will be able to walk longer on a treadmill. You work with a business coach and you can get very objective results if you follow their support and their advice. With a spiritual mentor guiding you, there are no objective rule sticks. There are no objective yardsticks that we can say, yes, here you're getting this result. Yes, here you're getting this result. And so spiritual growth and development is subjective. So I can never answer that question for a potential client who says, well, am I sure I'm going to get those results? But this I know wholeheartedly from Tarsi's teaching, is that spiritual growth and development may not be able to be defined by a yardstick of growth, but it will show up in spades when you are facing challenge and crisis. Your growth and your development and the working that you do to develop skills through spiritual tools that you can draw from anytime, anywhere, will, when you do the work, show up in spades to get you through a crisis in your life in a way that is profound, in a way where you can feel love and feel faith and feel trust and feel compassion, as shown for me in my own life through Tarsi's transition 8-day quest. I know that the spiritual growth and development that that dog gave me as my soul dog while she was here with us showed up in spades. I didn't know I had that in me. I knew I was working towards things, but because I was doing the work, because I was following and working with a spiritual mentor and guide, I am doing that work. When push came to shove and I needed to stay in alignment with spirit, to stay centered, to stay strong, to be the leader of my own life, it showed up in spades. So lead from your heart, but lead. Don't take a back seat in your life. Release and detach from the outcome so you can find answers that bring you great abundance, right? Or great solace and comfort and the ability to stay in faith and trust as you continue to move forward. And don't allow your spiritual growth and development to be metered out. Don't expect it to be able to be an objective answer for yourself that, yes, when I get to this point, I will have done this, this, and this, and that will show up. There is no objectivity in spiritual and growth and development. It's personal, it is subjective, but doing some of the work will allow you to see that you are supported, you are safe, you are strong when you need it. That's when the spiritual growth and development teachings allow you to see how far you have come as a human being, as a spiritual being walking in a human life. You will be able to see this. You will be able to feel it. It will become visceral for you. So that's my lesson today. The reason today, people will say, well, Laura, why today? I'm on day 7 of remembering her quest. We found her tomorrow 5 years ago. 4 years ago. 4 years ago. I wrote the book 3 years ago. So I'm having an anniversary. Having the anniversary with the full moon is a phenomenal event. You know, and I'm able to, as I always do, connect with Tarsi in a way that allows her light to still fill me. And I don't feel her loss, but I feel her love. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you today, is that you can lead from your heart, no matter where, no matter when. You can release from and detach from the outcomes to allow yourself to find those answers that come to you. And you can rely on the growth and development that you're doing right now. It's not an objective answer, but doing the work right now is going to support you in profound ways when you need it most. And those are Tarsi's teachings. So I hope that this has supported you. If you are in a space where you want some more information, one of the best tools that I have is what is your soul quotient assessment. It helps you see where you are on the spiritual growth and development space. It helps to see what to focus on next as you grow in your connection with your own intuition, with your own purpose, with your own passion, and align with spirit at the same time. So if you want that soul quotient, I will put that in here in the links right now. Cena Block, how the hey are you? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I know everybody goes through challenges like this. in their life. We all have life interrupts, and some are as simple as the child is sick at school and your day has to be completely rearranged to bring them home and nurture them, to something like Michael's accident and Tarsi's 8-day quest and her transitioning time. So we have all of these amazing, amazing life events that come to us that can interrupt things. But when you are living on purpose and passionately and can allow yourself to have faith and trust, you can transcend any of those challenges. You've been thinking of me, and then Facebook and you manifested that here I am. I love that, Sina. That's awesome. That's terrific. But I am coming up against a hard stop because I do need to go serve a client. I hope that everybody has a wonderful full moon, and that Tarsi is able to inspire you with elevating your vibration and bringing you more light and love. So have a great day, everybody. Keep smiling. Love to you all.